quick follow up to that real quick, AJ. Just,
Yeah.
Part of the audience and what we're aiming for with this is helping, business leaders understand their risk to start putting that a little bit more at the forefront when it comes to cybersecurity, knowing that we're at the cusp of that with the stuff that's released in the market now. How much should they be aware if they're looking at business opportunities from the risk standpoint? Would you say hold off, or, it's okay to dabble, but don't like make it a new complete product line right now, going back to that cash grab we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, man, that's a tough one, right? So, I mean, am I supposed to make a disclaimer? Like, I'm not an investor, or, like, don't take my advice, right? I think, that's a tough one to answer. I mean, look, I'll tell you, I'm in, right? Like, I'm building, this AR app. I think I'm starting to, IVEA Consulting has been around a while. And I think there's going to be a larger push for me this year, right? Because I think I'm starting to see more and more, clients and potential clients. If you're on the other side of it and you've got a great idea, I think that the ecosystem is there enough, right? Like, I mean, Facebook's in, Apple's coming this year or next, right? Like, and the one thing that the Oculus did was just lower that price point enough, right, to get it out. But if you really sort of dig into it, just the number of headset makers and what's out there, these companies are going all in. So the infrastructure is there, the ecosystem is there. It could be the time. I mean, I would say it probably is the time, right? Like, and test it, right? I mean, games, I think, are going to be probably the most prevalent. That's typically how new technologies kind of roll out, right? Like, that's the best way to sort of get it out there, mass adoption. But you're going to start to see these other little ones, like, how can I help blind people? How can I, like, how do I do the enterprise thing, right? Like, people think Google Glass died, right? They didn't die. They're on Enterprise Edition 3 or 2, right? Like, so they pivoted and said, hey, enterprise is where it's at, right? But they bought the company North, right? Like maybe a year or so ago. And now there's talk that they're building their own AR operating system, right? So if that's the case, Google's back in sort of the consumer game, right? And so again, the ecosystem's there. There's plenty of technology. All of that technology is mature, if not maturing to that point. I say go for it.
Well, no, and Joel, I think that you're 100% correct in the fact of I think we'll see more of a